Your channel is going to unmask what we believe has been the biggest disservice to the national interest. For 4 years, I have been relentlessly investigating the Samjhauta case. Over the years, I have come away convinced that the facts as revealed by the ATS and the then NIA probing under the UPA government weren't adding up. Their conclusion that the Samjhauta blasts were carried out by Hindu terrorists virtually absolving Pakistan for one of the bloodiest terror attacks on Indian soil was just too glib, too politically expedient. Today, I can confidently say that we've taken a leap in the direction of exposing what we call is the story behind the clean chit to Pakistan. Times now has accessed the terror confessions of the decade, ladies and gentlemen. Our journalist and my colleague Madhav Das Gopala Krishnan has accessed the videographed confessions of the boss of the banned terror group Simi, Safdar Nagori. This is the first time the country will watch the actual confession captured on tape. Till now, only excerpts of a purported transcript, yes, paper, have been in the public domain. For the first time in almost a decade, Safdar Nagori can be heard and most importantly seen implicating Pakistan and multiple Indian terror agents for carrying out the Samjhauta train blast that killed 68 innocents in February 2007 near Panipat in Haryana. Yet, the UPA thought it necessary not to go after Pakistan, but to go after Lieutenant Colonel Purohit. They put Purohit behind bars, but did not prosecute Pakistan. Why? Why is it that there were some individuals who wanted to appease Pakistan? And what will they say now when they hear in flesh and blood Safdar Nagori implicating Pakistan, implicating its agents here in India and the Lashkar-e-Toiba? Yes, the same terror agency that attacked Mumbai, carried out the multiple blasts across the length and breadth of India between 2005 and 2010. Listen to Safdar Nagori confessing that it was Pakistan. It was Pakistan that was behind the Samjhauta blast, and there were many, including individuals like Abdul Razak, who were part of that conspiracy. Listen to him.
एक्सप्रेस में समझौता एक्सप्रेस ट्रेन है, उसमें ब्लास्ट हो गया। वो याद तो है ना, वो पाकिस्तान से आने वाले ने किया हो, ब्लास्ट करता है ना, मेरा एक हाथ है वो टूट गया था, तो मैं गिर गया था, तो फिर मैं अस्पताल में भर्ती हो गया था।
उस समय
तो मैं अस्पताल में भर्ती था, तो मेरा जो है ना पैर जो था ना, पैर भी, तो पैर में भी लग गया था, बहुत ज्यादा लग गया था। तो इतना लग गया था पैर में कि ना मुझको जो है ना टॉयलेट में बैठता था ना, तो ऐसे पैर दरवाजा खोल के बैठ जाता था टॉयलेट में, क्योंकि वो मेरा पैर मुड़ता ही नहीं था।
एक्शन के लिए किसको मदद किया होगा?
वो पाकिस्तान वालों ने किया,
कुछ लोग उसको मदद किए थे,
जो रजाक ने किया, जो आता है, तो वो मुझको बोलता था कि तुम कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते, तुम खाली नेता हो, नेतागिरी तुम करते हो, ऐसा मुझको बोला था। नेतागिरी करते हो, वो मुझको बोल रहा था तुम जो है वो मुझको बोलता था तुम सिमी से रिटायर हो गए हो, सिमी से रिटायर हो गए ना, तुम सिमी वाले जो है तुमको पैसे देते हैं तो तुम खाते पीते हो बैठ के। ऐसा उसको बोला कि तुम लोग जो है नेता लोग हो गए हो और तुम लोग अब जिहाद नहीं कर सकते, और तुम लोग को है ना अच्छा रहने को चाहिए, अगर करना चाहे तो क्या नहीं कर सकता है करके। वो बोला था कि मैं अकेला जो है तुझको कुछ करूँगा, तो बोला मुझको मैं तुम्हारे पीछे नहीं चलूँगा अब, क्योंकि मैं तुम्हारी जिहाद की बात सुन के आया इधर, लेकिन तुम तो नेता हो, तो फिर मैं अकेले ही कुछ करूँगा, ऐसा वो बोलता मुझको। वो ऐसा मुझको बोला था कि अब मैं कुछ करूँगा। हाँ, उसको बहुत सारे लोग मानते हैं।
उसका कॉन्टेक्ट पाकिस्तान,
उसका कॉन्टेक्ट उसको मालूम नहीं, उसके कुछ रिश्तेदार थे उधर।
हाँ, कहाँ पे? इंदौर में। वो कहाँ रहते हैं?
वो नया पुराना रहता है, नया पुराना रहता है इंदौर में। कि अब्दुल रज़ाक जो है वो बोलता था कि आदमी अगर चाहे ना तो अकेला कुछ कर सकता है, ये सब आपका ये सब चक्कर करने की जरूरत नहीं है, मैं सब अकेले ही करूँगा जो भी मेरे को कर। वो तो सिमी जो थी ना वो उसमें था, वो मिसबा के साथ था, वो काम कर रहा था। मिसबा इस्लाम है ना जो कलकत्ता वाला, उसके साथ काम कर रहा था। रज़ाक तो मुझको बोलता था कि मैं जो है ना मैं अकेला ही कुछ कर सकता हूँ। वो इंदौर का जिम्मेदार था, इंदौर का सिमी का जिम्मेदार था अब्दुल रज़ाक।
Well, reactions coming in thick and fast. And Madhav, this is a very important exclusive that you are bringing today to the public's attention. And I congratulate you here on Times Now. It was difficult, I know, getting this tape, but it makes a couple of very important points, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think not couple of several important points. We get to understand exactly what are the Simi LET links, for instance. This person called Nasir, who has gone to Pakistan, been trained over there by the LET, is an LET operative over here, and he wants to work in conjunction with Simi. He also names Abdul Razak, who was a disgruntled member of Simi, who used to come and tell Safdar Nagori that he was old, that he could not carry out jihad because he's used to leading a very comfortable and luxurious life, and that he would do this on his own. He also says that Razak has relatives in Pakistan who actually helped him carry out these Samjhauta blasts. Now, all of this has been said on tape by Safdar Nagori. He goes on to describe those who are explosive experts. He goes on to describe how one of those, persons after the Mumbai train blast, Ehtesham, actually came up to him and said that he wants to do a bigger blast. And then later, when he writes a letter of apology, is when how Safdar Nagori knows that Ehtesham too perhaps were at some level or the other involved in the planning as far as the Samjhauta blast is concerned. These are so many names, so much of information.
And all ignored.
All ignored.
All
That's what
ignored,
is
overlooked,
shocking.
because someone was in a hurry to absolve Pakistan. Someone was in a hurry to implicate Hindus. It's as simple as that. I don't understand why this was happening. Why is it that material testimonies such as this was disregarded totally? This is a question that will hound the UPA going forward. I want to bring in, before I go across to Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, I want to quickly get an assessment from Maruf Raza and Colonel R.S.N. Singh. Maruf Raza, coming out to you, how do you assess this very big expose, perhaps the confession of the decade?
Yeah, Rahul, first compliments to you and Madhavan and everybody else in the team for having really come up with this important expose. And why I'm giving this compliment is because it helps solve some of the questions that have been in my mind for a long time. For example, the Simi initially was not banned in India, even though evidence existed of its links on two areas. One, its philosophical links and ideological links, sharing the same philosophy as Al-Qaeda. In fact, the Simi regards Al-Qaeda as its role model, and subsequently there were people within Simi who became part of Indian Mujahideen, either directly part of Simi and Indian Mujahideen or a separate entity that interacted together, who saw Mullah Omar as another role model. So there's that one factor that I was just wondering all along, what took the government of India so long to A, ban them, and they were only banned in 2001. And after that, the ban was lifted again in 2008. And why was it lifted? It was lifted because the honorable judges felt that not enough evidence against them was provided to the judiciary. Why wasn't the evidence provided? Because the evidence existed. Do you know that some members of Simi Indian Mujahideen were also killed operating with Lashkar-e-Toiba in the Kishtwar area of Jammu and Kashmir? Now, so therefore, the link existed not just in philosophical and ideological linkages, they were also operating together. The second thing is that when the Pakistanis initiated the Karachi project of 2002-2003 to basically gain deniability for all the bomb blasts in India, who did they use? They again used Indian Mujahideen / Simi operatives who were looking for some funding and guidance coming from Pakistan. that is now well evidence, and it is well recorded evidence, and this is articulated in certain books, including a book by Shishir Gupta on the Indian Mujahideen. So the evidence existed. But what emerges very clearly in all the writings that I have read,
yes,
that there was a go slow or go soft policy on the part of
there
the
was a
intelligence
look away
and police
policy,
agencies
look away, ignore.
to nail these guys. For example, can I give you one last example? Yeah, I give you one last example, Rahul, that the Muhammad Ali, who was one of the people involved eventually in the Malegaon blast and
yes,
whose needle of suspicion was onto him, this guy was already in police custody before the Malegaon blast, and it didn't seem to strike anybody that eventually this is the guy who went and became one of the elements who was involved in the bomb, as you have brought out, that where did the bombs fall into these people's lap from? They came from these guys who were trained in assembling and putting bombs together. So quite clearly, there was this. Now, why it all adds up in my mind, yes, is because the UPA stroke Congress people have always been soft on Pakistan, which has worked to our disadvantage and to Pakistan's advantage. कि ये कुछ नहीं करेंगे. They will say nothing. They will wait for another thing. And why it also falls into a pattern about Samjhauta, which you have brought out, that Pakistan's hardliners feel certain of their citizens are dispensable to achieve a larger goal, the larger goal of creating a Pakistan-centric caliphate in the whole region. So if 60-odd Pakistanis or 30-odd Pakistanis die here, there and everywhere, it doesn't matter. The big purpose is being served. Shocking. And that is where this confession fits in with the Samjhauta blast.
We will be bringing, and in fact, Maruf Raza, we will be bringing more confessions along the lines that you are talking about tomorrow. But today we want to focus on Pakistan. Colonel RSN, let me come out to you. Okay, we have a problem with Colonel RSN. We're going to go across to him in just a few moments. But before that, let me play out. Now you've heard Safdar Nagori implicating Pakistan. So why did he do it? The motivation. Now he tells you why he did it. Why is it that Simi did it? Why did Simi collaborate with Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Pakistanis to attack and kill and maim innocents on Indian soil? Now listen. Listen to the motivation. Pay close attention. And then I want to go across to Dr. Subramaniam Swamy and Colonel RSN Singh. Listen to this.
Safdar Nagori. मैं बेसिकली इंजीनियर था, लेकिन पिछले कुछ टाइम से सिमी के लिए काम करता था. हमें इम्पोर्टेंट मौजर प्रोक्योर करने की कोशिश किए थे. उसके लिए मैंने नासिर को बोले थे इम्पोर्टेंट मौजर मुझे चाहिए, क्योंकि मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में कुछ ऐसे कल्प्रिट्स गिल्टी इंडिविजुअल्स है जिसको पनिश करने के लिए हमको वो चाहिए. तो नासिर ने मुझसे कहा था कि आपको 47 नहीं चाहिए. तो मैं नासिर को बताया था कि मुझको 47 की ज़रूरत नहीं है, इसी से मेरा काम हो जाएगा. लेकिन फिर मैंने उसको पूछा था कि क्या 47 भी अरेंज हो सकता है. उसने कहा हाँ हो सकता है, अगर मेरा कॉन्टेक्ट हो जाएगा तो मौजर भी हो जाएगा, भी हो जाएगा. तब मैंने उससे कहा था कि हाँ एक मेरे लिए अरेंज कर दो. नहीं, वो कुछ उसमें से कुछ भी नहीं मिल पाया था. उसके पहले नासिर अरेस्ट हो गए. वो उसके कॉन्टेक्ट से बताता था, उसके कॉन्टेक्ट से पाकिस्तान में उसके 47 प्राइमरीली मैं प्रोक्योर नहीं करना चाह रहा था, लेकिन जो हम करना चाहते थे कि जो ऐसे गिल्टी हैं कल्प्रेट्स हैं हमको निशाना बनाना का प्रोग्राम था. क्योंकि हमको बहुत हर्ट हुई थी फीलिंग हमारी बागमती डेमोलिशन से और गुजरात और बॉम्बे राइट से. हम सोचते थे कि ऐसे लोग इंडिविजुअल्स को हम टारगेट करें. तो मौजर से हम AK-47 में मिल सकती है, नासिर ने जब बताया तो फिर हमने सोचा कि ऐसे इंडिविजुअल के लिए जो कुछ किसी के लिए हमें कोई चांस ना लेना हो, तो उनके लिए हम 47 भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. लेकिन वो 47 से हम इंडिविजुअल को ही टारगेट बनाने का हमारा ख्याल था, ना कि मासिस को. हो सकता है कि नासिर का मेरे अलावा भी उधर कोई कॉन्टेक्ट हो और नासिर ने वहाँ किसी और को डिलीवरी किया हो. इन्हीं का मेंबर में अगर किसी को जो मुझसे कनेक्टेड था अगर दिया होता तो मुझको ज़रूर, मैं समझता हूँ, पता चलता. लेकिन मुझे चूँकि पता नहीं चला है, इसलिए कारण से मे भी सिमी के बाहर के किसी ग्रुप को उसने दिया हो, या हो सकता है कि सिमी के दूसरे ग्रुप को दिया हो जो हमसे कनेक्टेड है। ये सिमी के 2 ग्रुप है, तो हो सकता है कि उसने सिमी के दूसरे ग्रुप को दिया। दूसरे ग्रुप में इमरान अंसारी है, अब्दुल रज़ाक है, उसने सिमी को ही दिया है, इंदौर में दिया है, तो फिर जरूर दूसरे ग्रुप को दिया होगा। उसने हमको कहा कि मैं दूंगा लाकर, लेकिन वो दे नहीं पाया और फिर वो अरेस्ट हो गया। नहीं, वो अजान हो रही है, अजान की आवाज आ रही है बाहर से। मैं मौलाना नासिरुद्दीन को पसंद था। जब अरेस्ट हुआ तो मुझको बड़ा दुख हुआ और मुझको लगा कि उनको इम्प्लीकेट किया जा रहा है, और फिर वो उनको अरेस्ट करने में जब मुजाहिद को इनकाउंटर कर दिया, वहाँ पर उसको शूट कर दिया, उसको लेकर भी बहुत दिल में गुस्सा था। मैं उनको पहले से यासिर को जानता था, नासिर को मैं अच्छे से नहीं जानता था, नासिर को छोटा बच्चा था, तो हमको सिंपैथी थी यासिर के साथ। यासिर को हम उसके घर पर ही जाकर मिले थे, उसका पिताजी का अरेस्ट होने के बाद हैदराबाद। नासिर पाकिस्तान को ट्रेनिंग के लिए गए हैं ये मुझे पता था। नासिर जब मुझसे मिलने के लिए आए तो आकर नासिर ने ही बताया कि वो पाकिस्तान को ट्रेनिंग के लिए गया था। उसके पहले मुझको पता था कि वो उम्रा करने के लिए गया है और वहाँ से उसकी बहन वहीं रहती है जद्दा में, तो उनके पास रहने लगा है।
नासिर ने कब आपको मिलने के लिए आए थे?
नासिर उसको 2007 एंड में अक्टूबर के आसपास कभी मिलने के लिए आया था।
इंदौर
नहीं, भोपाल।
जब आपने बताया था गोवा का टारगेट के बारे में,
तो उसका अपना प्रोजेक्ट, मैं तो उसको बताया कि मुझे ब्लास्ट है, मेरा प्रोजेक्ट ऐसे इंडिविजुअल्स को टारगेट करना है जो कि जिन्होंने बाबरी मस्जिद को डेमोलिश किया है, और जिन्होंने गुजरात में, और जिन्होंने मेरठ में लियाना, हशीमपुरा में, और जिन्होंने बॉम्बे राइट्स में मुस्लिम लेडीज को रेप किया है, न्यूड किया है, और उनको पूरा बॉम्ब्स को टीयर ऑफ करके और जो फीटस बाहर निकाल के ऐसे शो किया है और बर्न किया है लाइव। ऐसे जितने भी जीनियस क्राइम जिन लोगों ने किया है वो मेरा टारगेट है। मैंने नासिर को अपने टारगेट के बारे में बोला कि मेरा टारगेट इंडिविजुअल से।
Safdar Nagori, you've heard him for the first time, you've seen him for the first time confessing. He told you why he did it. He's telling you who did it and who did Pakistan in India collaborate with to do it. But what does the UPA do? It books Asim Anand. It books Swami Asim Anand, ladies and gentlemen, and not Nasir, one of those he names. The NIA and the ATS books Colonel Purohit, not Abdul Razak. And worst of all, they book Sadhvi Pragya and not Misbah ul Islam or Aziz ul Haq. That is how bizarre this is. And I want to go across to Dr. Subramaniam Swamy and Colonel R.S.N. Singh, who are joining me on this. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, I have some questions, sir. You are an MP of the Rajya Sabha, sir, and therefore a public servant, and most importantly, you're also a very senior member in the establishment, sir. And I want to ask you, what are the thoughts that are going through you today when you watch what could perhaps be the biggest betrayal of India's national interests, sir?
I'm horrified to see the depths to which the senior politicians of UPA have sunk for meeting I don't know what obligations of whom, perhaps obligations they have to Pakistan perhaps. But this is not just a random event. It is a systematic planning that has gone on. First, the Rahul Gandhi tells the Americans that Congress party thinks that Lashkar-e-Toiba is less of a danger to India than the Hindu terror. And then the Simi is, the ban is lifted, and then they do a somersault on what our officials had supplied to the United States so that they could get the United Nations to declare Lashkar-e-Toiba as an international terrorist organization. And then they catch some innocent people and then put them to horrible torture to confess, which they fail. And this all has been revealed by Times Now under the leadership of Mr. Rahul Shivshankar. I think if there was a Pulitzer Prize, you would get it. It's probably the biggest scoop of this decade, which will have far-reaching impact on the politics of this country, because it will expose that the traitors within our country. I would certainly rise up in Parliament if tomorrow, because of the swearing in of the President, if there is any problem, I will do it the day after, and say that an FIR should be registered on tampering of evidence and hiding of evidence, and interrogate through the NIA the key people of the UPA who are in the decision-making apparatus during that period.
But Dr. Swami, and I want to come back to this point. You see, we are at a point of inflection in this case, because there are individuals who were thought to be reliable witnesses, sir, who are now turning turtle. And the opposition will say there's a new government in power, and all these tapes are surfacing, and all these eyewitnesses or witnesses are being pressured to turn turtle, and this is actually the Bharatiya Janata Party and the NDA that is trying to turn the narrative away from the Hindu terror link, because they know that it was politically inconvenient for them. How do you answer those individuals today?
Well, the same logic can be used, that it was the UPA government which terrorized these people to give false testimony, and later on they changed. As far as Narasimhan is concerned, he changed during the UPA period itself. He didn't do it after the BJP came to power. And the question is, all this is overshadowed by what you have just disclosed. A tape made officially of a person officially administered narcotics to make him speak, and then they record it and put it away and somewhere in a corner where it is not even properly documented. I think this is a betrayal of the nation of the first order.
Actually, Madhav, I want to bring you in on this. We know that these tapes were gathering dust, and I know how painstaking it was for you to sift through, and it took him 40 days.
Okay.
Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan spent 40 days sifting through this material.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, we've been seeing some politicians, unfortunately, trying to politicize this, saying this is some sort of BJP plant. Let me assure our viewers that this is good old-fashioned investigative journalism. It's been journalism that has been painstaking. It has been extremely difficult. There's no question of any political motive or intent in the manner in which we've received these particular, this particular video. And I can clearly tell you that it has been a very, very difficult process, because this entire tape has been buried.
Anyone accuses me or Madhav or other colleagues of conspiring with the government of the day, let me tell you, and it's all visible for you, the public out there on YouTube. We have been at this for 4 years. We have done stories dating back to 4 years, trying to get to the bottom of Samjhauta. And Colonel RSN, you have been there. You have been there at times when we have been frustrated, because people have said, how do we know that these purported excerpts of Nagori confessions are genuine? Show us the tape, show us the tape, show us the tape. They've been going on saying this, and today we have the tape, Colonel RSN. What are they going to say now?
Rahul, even at the cost of, sounding, conceited, but it's professional conceit. I had pieced together every thing, as far as this case is concerned, Samjhauta. And from day one, the day, India said, that it is our people who have done it, I was on Times Now that day, and I said that wait for things to take that turn. A very important point, let me, explain to your, viewers. Constantly, this question is being put as to why it was done so. The whole purpose that this needs to be understood.
Yes.
That they had, once they had decided to carry out 2611 people in Luton's Delhi, once they had decided to do 2611 in collusion with Lashkar-e-Toiba, again I repeat, politicians in Luton's Delhi, they had colluded with Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Pakistani establishment. to carry out 26/11 so that it can be labeled as a Hindu terror. But you cannot sell this, this theory of Hindu terror suddenly. So you have to create a background. So there was, one blast in Malegaon where it was a very low intensity blast and a dud of a blast in Modasa, right? And thereafter these people started, then, obvious question would be that, where have these Hindu terrorists suddenly come from? So they started building a narrative कि इसके पीछे वो भी हुआ था. And then obvious question was that who did Samjhauta? So Samjhauta, sir, after all those years, just 15 days, 20 days before 26/11,
yes,
they started selling it to the world that this Samjhauta was done by, Colonel Purohit, etc., etc. Now let me tell you, what were the giveaways? David, if anybody, who understands intelligence agencies, David Headley was, for God's sake, infiltrated into the LET by the Americans. And he had reached right up to, infiltrated right up to the, the top man. So he knew everything. He told the Americans that, look, so-and-so did it, so-and-so did it. His wife went to the American embassy and he said, she said that, her husband was also involved in that. Arif Kasmani is, you have shown the,
yes,
the document. Everything was there on your channel. I used to shout on your channel telling these politicians that what sort of human beings you are, or whether you are a human being also or not, who, and all over the world, you try and protect your own people, and here when Pakistanis are involved, you tell the Pakistanis that no, you haven't done it, our people have done it. Sir, Rahul Shivshankar, sir, you have been very mild today, sir. You have been very mild today, let me tell you. These people, they're scoundrels. They're scoundrels.
Sir, one second, I'm getting a reaction coming in, sir. I'm getting a reaction. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, senior Bharatiya Janata Party leader with us. Mr. Sahasrabudhe, this is a very important investigation.
Sir,
you're a BJP MP.
They deserve narco test.
Yes, sir.
Shinde,
yes, sir. So one second. Okay.
Sonia Gandhi, narco test should be carried out on them.
Narco test. Narco test should be carried out, says Colonel RSN. I can understand.
Yes, sir.
I can understand. As a patriot, he is today upset. He is very upset. He's very upset.
Is this politics?
I want to break
Just
some
because you have joined
reactions
politics,
coming in.
You can become a criminal.
Sushil Kumar Shinde, the then top leader in the UPA, a former Union Home Minister, has reacted to us. Yes, one second, Colonel RSN. Hindu terror architects on the back foot, some people would say. Sushil Kumar Shinde says, I don't have any idea about this. I wasn't the Union Home Minister at that time. Don't ask me any questions. So Sushil Kumar Shinde, and I have his soundbite, and we're going to play out his soundbite, who once in the past said, January 20th, 2013, he said, BJP RSS training camps promoting Hindu terror, we are probing it. That is Sushil Kumar Shinde back in 2013. Let's play out his soundbite. And today says, I have no idea. I have no idea. Don't ask me. Look at the way they are turning turtle. Let's first listen to Sushil Kumar Shinde back in the day when he said that BJP RSS training camps are promoting Hindu terror and we are probing it. Listen.
ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो या आरएसएस के हो, उनके जो ट्रेनिंग कैंप्स है वो हिंदू टेररिज्म बढ़ाने का काम देख रहे हैं। इस पर भी हमारी बड़ी कड़ी नजर है। समझौता एक्सप्रेस, मक्का मस्जिद बात, स्फोट, मालेगांव का स्फोट, इसमें अभी सब दिख पड़ रहा है, एक दिख पड़ रहा है कि वहां जाके बॉम्ब प्लांट करना और ताकि ये माइनॉरिटी के लोगों ने किया है इस प्रकार का बताना, इसके लिए भी हमें बहुत सतर्क रहना।
In 2013, he was waxing eloquent about the BJP and RSS terror training camps because he felt that they had carried out the attacks, Samjhauta, Mecca Masjid and Malegaon. Today, exactly 4 years later, he says, I don't know. Don't ask me. Ask someone else. What has changed, Sushil Kumar Shinde Sahab, in 4 years? And remember, Sushil Kumar Shinde was one of our politicians who actually appended, prefixed honorifics for some of the world's worst terrorists. Madhav, you will remember that.
Absolutely. And in fact, the kind of comments that have come in, from various UPA leaders over the years has been extremely shocking. And at this point of time, to actually feign ignorance, what about others? There was Shivraj Patil. He is the one who perhaps has to answer.
I'll tell you why they are feigning ignorance.
He was the minister.
I'll tell you why they are feigning ignorance. They are feigning ignorance because they know they might be hauled up tomorrow in front of, perhaps, and one can only hope that this happens, an inquiry panel, and asked, why is it that Safdar Nagori, who incriminated Pakistan, has been let go? I want to go across to Nikunj Garg. Nikunj Garg, you have been in touch with the higher authorities in government today. How are they going to react? How, for instance, is the NIA going to react? How is the Home Ministry going to react? Nikunj.
Well, Rahul, the Ministry of Home Affairs is the correct body which has the quasi-judicial powers and also the administrative powers to set up the inquiry panel that you are demanding here at times now. Yeah. The National Investigative Agency, obviously being an investigative body, cannot probably form an independent panel. So it's for the Union Home Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, to take cognizance of it. And I'm given to understand by his very close aides. I had a conversation with the Home Minister's staffers somewhere around an hour back, and I'm given to understand that the Home Minister will watch it very, very closely and take appropriate decision in consultation with his other senior cabinet colleagues. Now, that's on the administrative and the judicial side. Investigative point of view, the National Investigative Agency will do itself a good, would do itself a justice as the country's premier anti-terror body set up only for exclusively for terror cases to go revisit this entire investigation, because you see, at some point of time, investigators have to take a call, and that call is the call of conscience. That call is not the call of administrative prudence or investigative hardship that they have gone through in the investigation that they have done so far, and therefore can't ignore it. So that call of conscience will have to be taken by the National Investigative Agency now, and I think the tipping point has come after nearly 4 years of relentless reporting on these so-called trumped-up Hindu terror cases, I can call them, that the National Investigating Agency also does some background homework on the tapes that we are putting forward now, and I will have a word with their Director General too once I get free from this broadcast, and will elicit his views also on the matter. Though he can only write to the Ministry of Home Affairs, as I said, he does not have the political or the administrative leeway to set up anything independent of its own in the probe nature.
Well, let me once again reacquaint our viewers. The proof that the UPA has ignored, or at least the ATS and the NIA under the UPA have ignored. Let me be absolutely correct. Eyewitness accounts nailing Pakistan suspects, ignored. What they proved was that Pak suspects brought bomb in a suitcase here. They ignored it. Fake passport recovered from Pakistani suspects. What that proved was that the Pak suspect was staying in India illegally before the Samjhauta blast. Narco test of Simi chief, Safdar Nagori. The narco test that was not catalogued, that was never recorded, and was gathering dust till Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan, my colleague, pulled it out, rescued it from complete and utter disregard, and from really the dustbin of history. 10 years ago, Madhav Das Gopalakrishnan, congratulations to you. I want to ask you the 3 takeaways that we come away with.
Well, there are many takeaways, as you rightly said. About 3 of them are extremely significant, Rahul. The first is the fact that Abdul Razak has been named very clearly as being the disgruntled Simi activist who would time and again come to Safdar Nagori, tell him that he's too old for all this jihad business, he's too used to leading a good life, and therefore he has the capacity to do things on his own, and he will do activities on his own. He also goes on to say that he has done this. He has relatives in Pakistan whose help he has taken to actually carry out out this attack. The second and perhaps the most startling part of this entire narco tape is how close the links between LET and Simi are. There's an individual by the name of Nasir who's been across the border in Pakistan. He's received his training from the LET there. He is an LET operative who knows Shahid Bilal very well, and also at the same time is in touch with Simi, wants to carry out a terror strike on Indian soil. That's an extremely shocking revelation. And the third and the most important part perhaps is the fact that an individual by the name of Ehtisham, who was earlier outside, he wasn't in jail, he was freely roaming around, he was a Simi operative in Maharashtra, was in touch with Safdar Nagori after the Mumbai train blast, said that he wanted to do something bigger than this. Then he writes a letter much later from the jail apologizing to Safdar Nagori. So Safdar Nagori wonders, what is this apology for? And when the Samjhauta blast happened, he then realizes that this is the reason he has apologized. He has helped those Pakistani terrorists to actually carry out this terror strike on Indian soil.
And he's telling his interrogators all these details. Listen to it. Because if Madhav has summed it up, now listen to it in the own words of Safdar Nagori. This is tape 3. Let's listen to it. The Pakistani link established, confessed, and worst of all, ladies and gentlemen, for some reason, buried. Listen to this.
दार्जिलिंग में तो वो है बड़ा भाई, तो बड़ा भाई बोलते हैं उसको, उसका नाम है, वो इंजीनियर है, अब अजीजुल हक, वहाँ पे रहता है वो बड़ा लंबा सा आदमी है, वो बहुत लंबा है, उसकी बीवी है ना, उसका नाम महबूबा, उसका नाम है। वो जब शादी किया था ना, शादी करके और फिर वो महबूबा को लेके आया था हमारे दिल्ली में रहने के लिए, दिल्ली घूमने के लिए। अच्छा, वो जब मैं अगर गया था ना दार्जिलिंग को घूमने के लिए, तो सब लोग उसको सलाम बोलता था, अजीज भाई साहब। दिल्ली में तो अजीजुल हक था।
वो बेस कैंप भी बनाया क्या?
वो बेस कैंप जो है ना, तो दार्जिलिंग में नीचे जो है ना वो सिलीगुड़ी है, वो सिलीगुड़ी में अजीजुल हक का जो है वो ससुराल है, वो है ना वो क्या नाम है उसका, महबूबा, वो महबूबा की अम्मी रहती है वहाँ पर सिलीगुड़ी में। तो एक बार हम गए थे वहाँ पर, तो उसने हमको दावत दिए थे उसके अम्मी के घर में। अजीजुल हक वो बोलता बहुत कम था हमको, वो अजीजुल हक बोलता था कि ना तुम लोग समझते नहीं हो सब कैसे क्या करना चाहिए, और तुम लोग खाली आइडियोलॉग हो, और तुम लोग आइडियोलॉग की बात करते हो।
और उसका कौन सा टेररिस्ट का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ ताल्लुका था?
नहीं, उसका तो सिमी के साथ ताल्लुका था।
उसके अलावा
अजीजुल हक को LET के साथ मालूम। अजीजुल हक को है ना एक बार पुलिस ने पकड़ लिए थे, तो उसको बहुत मारा था।
इंदौर में कौन?
इंदौर में जो लोग होंगे वो सपोर्ट करने वाले, तो वो लोकल के जो हमारे फ्रेंड्स थे, जो हमारे साथी थे। मैं 94 में दिल्ली चला गया था, तो उसके बाद से मैंने फोन कलेक्शन नहीं किया था, लोकल आदमी करता था। शाहिद बिलाल को मैं नहीं जानता, मुझे नासिर ने बताया कि शाहिद बिलाल एक लड़का है जो उसका दोस्त था, लेकिन मैं शाहिद बिलाल को कभी नहीं जानता। जो भी फंड आता था उसी में से सारे खर्च होते थे, तो जो पिकनिक की गई वो पिकनिक के लिए भी उसी में से खर्च हुआ, लेकिन वो अमाउंट 15 लाख नहीं था। नासिर बताया था मुझको, तो उसने LET के यहाँ ट्रेनिंग हासिल किया। हमने जनरल टारगेट बनाया था कि ऐसे लोगों को हम टारगेट बनाएंगे इंडिविजुअली, लेकिन अब तक हम लोग क्योंकि अपने ऐसे लोगों को ट्रेन ही नहीं कर पाए थे कि जो ऐसा कर सके, इसलिए हम लोगों ने ऐसी कोई लिस्ट फाइनल नहीं कर पाए थे।
के बारे में
उसका अपना डिस्कशन था, वो चाहता था कि मतलब वो जो ट्रेनिंग लेकर आया है तो हम लोग भी उसके साथ कोऑपरेट करके कुछ काम करें। अदनान और दूसरे लोगों से बात किया होगा, मेरे साथ बातचीत के अंदर उसने ऐसा कोई बात किया।
Samjhauta blast, we have seen that same thing what actually you had been talking about 1950. And this time also we have seen that the Times now was able to expose how Congress government let off certain people from Pakistan, and they wanted to in fact change the tinge from the Pakistan terror to the Hindu terror. In fact, there are also reports that they wanted to that time interrogate Mohan Bhagwat for this Hindu terror links. How do you see this development, that how come a person who is behind that blast is allowed to go free and back to Pakistan?
This was the greatest tragedy of India, that a party like Congress, which only believes in petty politics, petty political games, they were at the helm of the affairs. What's happening in Jammu and Kashmir, it's all creation of Congress. They meddle with this internal interests. Now, and what they did all the times, because they tried to divert the attention of the nation. There's alleging that Hindu terrorism is there. They only try to balance it. This is not only appeasement. This is playing with the interest of the nation. And
playing with the interests of the nation, says the Bharatiya Janata Party. Well, then what are they going to do about it? Will the BJP, will the NDA at the centre call for a reassessment? Will they demand now a court-monitored probe? The ball is in the centre's court, but there are questions that the UPA has to answer tonight. And some of them are, and I'm going to read them out. If Simmi head Safdar Nagori confessed the role of Pakistan, why wasn't this looked into? Why wasn't this examined? Was there a motivated attempt to ignore confessed Pakistan link to the Samjhauta blast? Why is it that individuals such as those on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, constantly talked about a Hindu terror link when the head of the Simmi in this country was talking about the Huji, the Harkat-ul-Jihadi Islami, which is a Bangladesh-based terror organization, and the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Pakistani deep state that conspired to carry out Samjhauta. After suspicious release of Pakistan citizen dozens sidelining, Nagori's confession raised possibility of whether Pakistan was absolved, was let off. Big questions that the UPA must answer. Do the tapes raise questions about whether the Hindu terror narrative that was coined and patented by the UPA, was it faked for political gains? These are questions they must answer. These are questions that they must be made accountable for. And did appeasement politics have something to do with the sidelining of the Nagori narco confession on tape? Big questions. I want to bring in GVL Narasimha Rao, Mahmood Paracha, as also Colonel RSN on this broadcast. GVL Narasimha Rao, the ball now in the BJP's court, the ball now in the government's court. We are being told, and he was on the show just about 20 minutes back, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, and he said if not tomorrow, he will definitely raise this entire issue on Wednesday in Parliament. Will you support him, sir? Will the Bharatiya Janata Party come out and ask why the UPA was jailing Colonel Purohit and not Abdul Zarak? Why Sadhvi Pragya and not Misbah ul Islam or Aziz ul Haq? And
Rahul,
why did they lock up Asim Anand and not Nasir?
Rahul, this video evidence that you have put out on your channel tonight, I think this is the last nail in the coffin. I think the kind of fraud that was perpetrated on this country, the kind of perversion that ruled the roost in the UPA tenure, I think it can only be two things: a complete negation of national interest, subversion of national security, or some kind of perverse delight at simply abusing a religion,
Pakistan stands
abusing the Hindu religion. Is it perversion?
Pakistan stands
Is it perversion, or
are we
is
going to see a course correction now?
No, there is no question of. There will be. There has to be. I'm sure this evidence now will come before the honorable court, before which the case is pending. This, I think, will attract. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you this attracts several sections. If this evidence was not produced in the court, this is suppression of evidence. There are sections under IPC, section 201, 202, 204, 203. All this will be.
Narco tapes are still not allowed, sir. This is a narco confession. And we know what they're going to say. How can you? Because narco tapes are not, they're allowed in the United States. They are allowed in every other functional democracy where there is respect for human rights, but not in India. But that's a completely different matter. The question that needs to be asked, and I hope, sir, that the centre now demands a court-appointed probe into the investigations itself on the Samjhauta blast. If that can be done, some of these individuals, like the former Home Minister who is feigning ignorance, Sushil Kumar Shinde, who talked, sir, in January of 2013 about BJP RSS training camps promoting Hindu terror and spawning attacks like Samjhauta, they will all be summoned. So this needs to be done, because Pakistan today is sitting pretty.
Rahul, Sushil Kumar Shinde, be it Sushil Kumar Shinde or any other minister in the UPA government, they were simply parroting the lines given by Sonia Gandhi and by extension Rahul Gandhi. I think people like Shinde did not have any political heft to make any decision on their own. Even the Prime Minister in that government did not have a say. I think, remember what happened even to the NSA, the former NSA.
While many today watching this broadcast will agree with you, GVL Narasimhan Rao, they might agree with you, and there are several people, you just have to look at the Twitter reaction which are agreeing with you. But the point is, they're also asking tonight, how are we going to ensure that Pakistan is brought back into the equation, that we prosecute Pakistan and those that acted at the behest of Pakistan, rather than Colonel Purohit, who has lost 8 years of his life. He has been degraded as an army officer. He still rots in prison. Swami Asimanand came out because certain eyewitnesses turned hostile, and Sadhvi Pragya, sir, cannot even stand and talk because she has cancer. Now, how do we recompensate them?
Rahul, the fact that a complete concoction was done to suit at one level the political interest of the ruling alliance, but honestly, I think it's gone far beyond that. No party in power will go to such abysmal depths to really to simply have a political advantage. I certainly feel there is a much grander design to this. There is certainly in the last 3 years we have seen the kind of links that Congress has shown towards separatists, the manner in which they have been attacking the Indian army and the army
the time
chief.
has come, sir.
Now I think a time has come. Time has come. We should not stop at questioning their own anti-national.
So if you feel, sir, that the national interest has been so betrayed, I hope that your government today reassesses this case in the direction it has taken. I want to bring in Mahmood Paracha. Mahmood Paracha, are you now going to still sit here and tell me that this is yet another concoction, Mr. Mahmood Paracha, or are you going to say, no, I think the NIA was perhaps being politically led or directed by certain individuals in power to suit a particular politically expedient narrative? I'm asking you this question. Has a disservice been done to the national interest? Pakistan has been let off. Hindus have been put in the dock, while individuals who you just heard, Safdar Nagori, are confessing about Pakistan's role, the Huji's role, the Lashkar-e-Toiba's role, all Pakistani stooges.
Now, first of all, I am very vindicated when you say that the NIA is a compromised organization.
Hey, sir.
It used to be,
focus on the thin edge of the wedge.
That's a fact.
We are talking about the betrayal of the national interest.
No, let me make my point at least.
This is a bigger point than what you're making.
You can keep,
you can say the NIA, you don't need to be vindicated. The Supreme Court vindicated you, sir, 4 years ago when it said that the CBI was a cage parrot. So we know. Now I'm asking you, sir. Did the UPA compromise national security and the interests of this country? Simple, straightforward question to you. Answer me the question.
Now let me tell you two things first. The person who investigated and found out the role initially in all those cases, Makkah Masjid blast, Malegaon blast, Ajmer Sharif blast and Samjhauta blast, there were Muslim youth who were falsely implicated by the state investigating agencies. it was no less a person than Hemant Karkare, who died fighting the Pakistani terrorists in 26/11, who unearthed the real conspiracy behind this, and who was the one who unearthed the role of Abhinav Bharat, of Sadhvi Pragya, of Swami Asimanand, and Lieutenant Colonel Purohit. Now, if anybody in the country, in our great country, doubts the role and the character and the integrity of a person no less than Mr. Hemant Karkare, no, if that is disgrace, and that is, I think, shameful to dishonor the investigation done by Mr. Hemant Karkare. That is first thing. And now coming to the narco analysis thing. Narco analysis is neither scientifically nor legally accepted in our country.
Then why do we conduct it?
World. I am telling you
to
this.
get out,
I am a lawyer.
to get out the lead. Colonel Anand, would you like to explain?
Third thing, Dr. Malini. Third thing, Dr. Malini, who conducted this narco analysis, has been removed from her job, has been thrown out of her job, and it has been found out that she forged her documents to get this job.
Oh, come on, sir.
And that is the reality. So what substance can you...
Madhav wants to come in. Madhav wants to correct the record. Madhav wants to correct the record.
I'd just like to correct this aspect that Dr. Malini has since been reinstated. Firstly, she's won a court case where she was falsely harassed by the state government at that point of time. She's won a court case. She's back on the job. Number one, absolutely.
No, 1 second, Mr. Parocha. You have made a very scandalous remark against, against a public servant, and it's very unfair. Excuse me, 1 second. Mr. Parocha, I am not going to allow you to continue with this slander campaign. The said officer has been reinstated. She's won a court case, so stop slandering her. This is terrible. Don't shoot the messenger and a public servant who's only an instrument in conducting a narco test. Excuse me, please, I'm not going to accept this. Colonel Anand comes in. Colonel Anand, I am terribly sorry. I am terribly sorry, sir. She has won her case. She has been reinstated, and I don't think you have any right today to raise aspersions and cast aspersions against individuals who have... This is also a fact.
Where is Dr.
This is also a fact. You have such a problem. You have such a problem incriminating Pakistan. Why? Why? Are they paying you? Are you on their rolls?
And today, Pakistan. Safdar Nagori.
Exactly.
Safdar Nagori is the one who names the terrorists over here. Why are you sidestepping the main issue? The main issue is not who conducted the narco test, but what is the evidence that has come out of it?
It suits him. 1 minute. Let's lower his fader because I want to bring in Colonel Anand because I know Mr. Paracha will just continue to speak. That's his behavior. Yes, go ahead, Colonel.
Rahul, today I am not the judge. You are not the judge. You have put out an audio-visual, piece of evidence on your channel, and it is for the people to judge. Now, this man has to be out of his mind. Look at the footprints. It runs from Calcutta to Darjeeling to Indore to Bhopal. It covers almost the entire country.
Sadhvi Pragya के भाई साहब,
this is all.
Sadhvi Pragya के भाई साहब हमारा broadcast join कर रहे हैं. Brother-in-law हैं वो, साध्वी प्रज्ञा के brother-in-law हैं. भगवान जी आप मुझे बताइए, आपको क्या एहसास हो रहा है आज? सफदर नागोरी ने कहा कि पाकिस्तान ने विस्फोट किया. वो कह रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान के यहाँ पर जो पॉन्स हैं उन्होंने किया. अब आप मुझे बताइए भगवान साहब.
मैं इसमें पहले शुरू से ही स्पष्ट इस बात को कहते रहा हूँ कि हिंदूवादियों को एक षड्यंत्र के तहत भारतीय समाज, सनातनी समाज में विद्वेष फैलाने के लिए पूर्ववर्ती जो तत्कालीन सरकार थी उनके कुछ चुने हुए नेताओं के द्वारा यह जानबूझ करके एक षड्यंत्र रचा गया था कि 2014।
भगवान जी थैंक यू. आपने ये जो बोला है काफी लोग आपसे अग्री करेंगे. Many people will agree with what you are saying. They will agree with you. Colonel Narasimhan is saying it. Several people are saying it. The UPA needs to come out and explain whether this is actually the truth. There are many apologists for the UPA who will continue to hold up their end of the story. But we need the principal actors. I'm going straight across to Navika Kumar, who joins us with yet another part of this expose coming up on the news hour. Navika Kumar.
Tonight.